Despite Zimbabwe's deep economic and apparent political problems, President Robert Mugabe promises that better times are ahead. My colleague, Paul Sisco, has more.
President Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe is 93 years old and shows no signs of slowing down or relinquishing power. He's determined to run for re-election in 2018 on a date that has yet to be announced. Mugabe became prime minister of newly renamed Zimbabwe following the end of white minority rule in 1980. He became president December 22, 1987. Known as one not to mince words, he famously once told the BBC, "The only white man you can trust is a dead white man." Mugabe was once revered as a revolutionary hero of the African liberation struggle, freeing Zimbabwe from British colonialism. Today, critics view him as a dictator responsible for widespread corruption, a broken economy, crimes against humanity, and human rights violations. In 1987, Parliament amended the Constitution, making Mugabe president with the power to dissolve the government, declare martial law, and run for an unlimited number of terms. Since then, he's won multiple disputed presidential elections with the support of the dominant and powerful ZANU-PF party. The nation is anticipating another vote for president in 2018. On April 18th, amid a dark economic cloud, President Mugabe presided over Zimbabwe's 37th anniversary celebrations. Zimbabwe was once the region's breadbasket, but since 2000 has struggled to feed itself due to drought and the effects of a land reform program that seized white-owned farms and redistributed them to landless black Zimbabweans. Sharp declines in farming production soon followed. President Mugabe repeatedly blames his nation's worsening economy on sanctions imposed by the United States and Britain in 2003 in response to its poor human rights record and actions undermining its democratic institutions. Today, nearly 80% of the population is unemployed. Two of Zimbabwe's best-known opposition figures, longtime critic Morgan Tsvangirai and former Vice President Joyce Uhuru, say they will work together to defeat Mugabe in next year's contest. However, it's not clear who will be the candidate. The alliance is seen as an important first step towards uniting a deeply divided opposition. Other opposition groups say they too will join the alliance in an effort to oust Mugabe. Justina Mukoko, a Zimbabwean human rights activist and director of the Zimbabwe Peace Project, says human rights violations are increasing in the country. Popular protests and defections from factions that have traditionally supported the president are also on the rise.
We monitor and document human rights violations, and we also have a deliberate focus on politically motivated human rights violations. And we do this through a network of courageous men and women who are dotted throughout the country, who give us information that is related to human rights.
In her book, The Abduction and Trial of Justina Mukoko, The Fight for Human Rights in Zimbabwe, she details her arrest, torture, and time in prison for what she says were her media reports criticizing the government. She says public protests are becoming more widespread in the southern African country. Her Human Rights Forum, the Zimbabwe Peace Project, is receiving more and more reports of abuses at the hands of government operatives in Zimbabwe. President Mugabe is promising a series of reforms, and he remains confident of re-election. Many political observers say the presidential vote in 2018 will be closer if the opposition can indeed present a strong united front, and if the vote is transparent and free. Paul Sisco, VOA News, Washington.